Welcome to Washington East to West Sports. This is episode 50. I am Matt Beatty, joined alongside, as usual, by Kevin Ardall, Sean Beatty, and we have once again reoccurring guest, JT the Ginger. Welcome, everyone. If you want to get at us, tweet at us. I am at Beatty_Matt. Sean's at Sean_Beatty. Kev's at Kev's Believes First and Believes in a 3. JT is at JT_the Ginger. Let's get right into it. So, Kevin has blessed the Seattle Sounders back to their winning ways after his blessing on the podcast. They have scored 9 goals in 2 games. They've defeated the Tigres 3-0 in the opening of the League's Cup, and then they won yesterday. I watched the second half of this game, 6-2 over Portland. Kevin, who would you like to bless next?
Ooh, that's a good question. I mean, if I'm gonna bless anybody right now, I guess it'd probably be the Mariners, just because they're kind of warming themselves back up after getting the crap kicked out of them, and we'll get into that here in a little bit, of course. But yeah, so I'm gonna say I might give a light sprinkle of love to the Mariners, and let's see how it goes. Keep the hot streak riding.
All right, so Kevin has given his good luck blessing charm to the Mariners. So if they do not sweep these next 2 series, we know exactly who to blame. And then let's talk a little bit about the Seattle Storm. They are right back into the swing of things after the Olympics. They won their opening game 79-57 against Connecticut Sun. They lost yesterday, unfortunately, 87-85 to the Chicago Sky. But the Storm are back in action, so please go and support the Storm. And they're going to be making a playoff run here soon, just like the Seattle Sounders are. But gentlemen, let us move into some baseball and let us talk about those Seattle Mariners that Kevin has just blessed. Now, Kevin could have blessed them last week, and then, they could have swept both series with Texas and Toronto, but it wasn't the case, unfortunately. So I'm just going to go down the schedule, and then we're going to get live reports here from a couple of these games. So let's start from Tuesday. They faced Texas, lost 5-4 and 10. Then they went on a 4-game winning streak, beating Texas 2-1, 3-1 to win the series. Then on Friday, they won 3-2 against the Blue Jays, 9-3 against the Blue Jays on Saturday. But then they lost yesterday, 8-3 to the Blue Jays. But let's get some live reports. So JT, we just happened to miss each other apparently because, why don't we just go to the same game? But it's okay. We've got 2 live reports. So JT, you went to that Blue Jays Mariners game on Friday. First of all, tell us where you were sitting and what you thought of the game.
Took the family. I was sitting section 143, row 32, seats 1 through 5. Really solid. Didn't really see a whole lot of foul ball action, but the action I did see was the power source of Ladito. Let's just throw that out there first and foremost. It was pretty impressive, even from that far away. But in general, it was a good vibe in the crowd. My wife didn't realize that garlic fries are in fact garlic with fries. I was like, yeah, half the weight of it is garlic. And she's like, this is disgusting.
The ratio gets worse as you get down further.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's saturated. I was like, oh, I should have told you, because we kind of like split up, took each of us had one kid, and we'd figure out like dinner at that point, because we kind of wanted different things to eat. But man, what an exciting game. The box score doesn't really do it justice. Robbie Ray was pitching, so tight pants Robbie Ray.
Yeah, look at that.
Okay. He was doing pretty well. And it was cool to see in person, because I've had Robbie Ray on fantasy teams a lot over the years. But tough one. Brad Hand comes in, 4 pitches, walk, game over, walk off to Kelnick, and Kelnick's going crazy with that dumb haircut I don't like anymore. But in terms of just like team overall, France, wow. He had an amazing play at first base, foul territory, 8th inning, spins, throws home. It's called safe, and replay is actually out, because I didn't see any replay. I watched it in real time. I just don't think the runner hit home, if I'm guessing, because it looked like he slid wide. But Toro doesn't look like a second baseman. He needs more time there. some of the outfield cutoffs and stuff. I was like, where do you think you should be? 'Cause
The problem is the other second baseman is playing first. So
right. So I mean,
Yeah.
like in terms of it's probably not thinking Toro is an excellent defender, but maybe he's more comfortable at third or something.
I will say our infield coach did turn Ty France into a not crappy first baseman. So maybe with time.
Yep. Let's see. But yeah, honestly, Kelnick had a solid night that night. Flexing. That's who I really came for. I buried the lead. The triflex, my boy, it just really happened to be that way. I was like, we're going to the Friday night game. I don't care what it is, what's going on. I just want to watch some baseball. And it happened to be my boy Flexen, and he showed up super consistent. They pulled him, I thought it was a little bit early, but I understand the matchup situations and everything. And yeah, walk off, fireworks, 90s music. They play Backstreet Boys. They didn't play NSYNC, so the game is in protest.
Fair. That's fair. That's fair. Thank you for that report. So I went to the game on Saturday, and I predicted quite a few home runs. Didn't actually think it was going to come true, but there were quite a few home runs. So first inning, Ty France gets them an early lead with a 2-run homer. Then Yusei did not pitch very well in this game. He was a little bit off. I don't know what it was, but he had quite a few walks. He had 3 earned runs, so not his best outing. And then the Blue Jays took the lead in the 5th. But, Hyunjin Ryu pitched really well, but he left 2 runners on with the relievers coming in. And then Luis Torrens with a 3-run homer to give the Mariners the lead, followed by back-to-back with Jared Kelnick, which was awesome. And then, I thought the Mariners might cruise and take a lead, but just play with that lead. But no, they added more in the 8th with Toro hitting an RBI single. And then Luis Torrens at DH once again had a double. Looked like it was going to go once again, but two-run double. So that was the final score. And, it was a good game. I was section 112. Row 3, seats 13 through 15. So right behind the foul ball girl, I sent a picture to Kevin and Sean. Sean, if you do go to a game, get those seats, because the ball girls turn around and look for the kids and then toss them the ball. And it's like, what about me? All right, I'm 31. I'm not cute, but I deserve a baseball. Like, this is not fair. I'm being discriminated against because I'm not tiny and cute. Like, it's not.
Use your body, box out, elbows.
That's true. That's true. Box out, elbows.
Yeah.
I just, just didn't do it. I felt a little bit bad for the kids, but they got their baseballs, and that's fine. That's fine. Also, there was a row of 5 there only on that foul line. And we had 2 ladies that came all the way from Cincinnati. They're doing a ballpark tour. So shout out to Libby and Alexandria. They were very cool. They are from Cincinnati, and they are actually going to the game on Wednesday, Reds Cubs. So they've been going to a lot of baseball games.
Oh man.
And they also commented that they do not think Mitch Haniger has a great butt. I disagree. They really do like Abraham Toro's butt. So they were very, very into Abraham Toro, not so much Mitch Haniger, which I shouted to Mitch Haniger, I still love you, even though they don't like you. It's okay. It's okay.
They like a little spice.
That's true. They do like a little spice. They like a little spice.
Like a tiger.
But yeah, so Kelnick and Torrens were the heroes of this game, and also Ty France. You can't go wrong with Ty France because he got them going in the first. But overall, I saw a great game, and JT and I both saw wins. So maybe you guys should have gone to the Sunday game, and they might have gotten a sweep. So where you at? Where you at, Sean? Where you at, Kevin? Come on.
Sorry.
Come on. All right. Well, let's throw it to Kevin. What do you think of the Mariners this past week?
Overall, I'm happy. I didn't like the loss to Texas. I think that's something we could have done. I think we could have swept Texas. It was just bad things. Main things that I'm going to point out that we haven't covered yet. One, Marco Gonzalez. Can we just talk about him real quick? Throws a complete game. And I keep seeing people online, even though not like this past week, but over like the last 2 weeks, just poop on Marco Gonzalez, which is funny because since he's returned, since July 9th start, he has a 2.13 ERA with 3 quality starts. And it's just been kind of a stud. I mean, He
was
gets you at
really
least
bad
5
before
innings.
that, though. He was
Yeah,
really-
but I also think injuries and a couple other things were kind of having to deal with it. I think he's finally feeling more like around like 95% to 100% healthy. I think he's feeling great right now, and it's showing. What he did this past week with that complete game was just amazing. I thought everything looked good. And then Senior Kelnick just keep being awesome. I had a stat here that I saw online that was just quite amazing. The amount of difference for him since he got called up. Let me go and find it here real quick. It is his strikeout. Yes. So in May or in June, his highest strikeout ratio was 56.3. And for the month of August, it was 13.2. Just changing up his stance, less strikeouts, which is what you wanted to see out of the kid, more better quality at bats, and his bat's been hot. So those were the kind of the two mains that I want to point out, other than what was already covered. And hopefully we can kind of continue that on this week and just keep on rolling.
Sean, what have you thought of the Mariners this past week?
All things considered, I think they played pretty well. I mean, they beat. Kevin's right. I mean, a sweep would have been nice, but they win a series against Texas, only losing extras. It was funny. I got in a little bit of argument on Twitter about how Graveman was the trade ruined the team and Jerry ruined the clubhouse, and they were never gonna do anything, and it was awful. And then the Mariners bullpen proceeded to not give up a run the rest of the week until Sunday, in which Johan Ramirez gave up a 2-run home run, and that was the only runs the bullpen gave up the rest of the week. So I think we're okay. I think we're doing just fine. I also have a quick little stat here that since the trade, Joe Smith has pitched 6 2/3 innings and has a 0 ERA and a .60 WHIP. Kevin Graveman has pitched 6 1/3 innings with a 1.4 ERA and a .63 WHIP. So Joe Smith has just been undoubtedly better pitcher since they got him. So I'm just, just drink a little tea here or whatever you want to do. So maybe Kendall Graveman isn't the problem, and the guy we got for him isn't the problem. I know, shocker, but it was nice to see us somehow beat Toronto twice. I still don't know how those games happened, but they did it. Oh, and Kevin, as your Marco thing, his last 30 days, a 1.6 ERA, which is awesome. Previous 30 days, 6.7. So it was like a boom, night and day. He was just like, I'm going from one of the worst pitchers in baseball to one of the best. Like, should have flipped that switch a little earlier. But yeah, he has been an absolute beast. Matthew, I have to say, I agree with the ladies. I think Toro's a little hotter than Mitch Haniger.
A little bit younger. I mean, that gives him an advantage.
Yeah, and on the field and off the field, I like Toro's trimmed up beard, and 1,000 OPS since we got him is pretty good. Again, another Graveman shot. Pretty hot since we acquired the Toro guy. So he's been awesome for my fantasy team. The issue was always with this team was the Toronto can pitch now with Brios, even though we didn't face Ryu, Robbie Ray, tight pants Robbie Ray. I don't know when that started, but that was really nice to see every single muscle in his body whenever he's pitching. Give that man some tighter pants. But the bullpen for Toronto is always the worst. And I would ask Mariner fans here, what would we rather have? Because that was really watching Toronto fans melt down every single day when they give up 7 runs in the last 2 innings, or give up 2 runs in the 8th the day before, and we take the lead and beat them with arguably a way worse constructed team than them. Because if you look at Toronto versus us, they're clearly a better team. I would say I think our bullpen, even after the trades, have been just fine, fantastic. Love the bullpen still. Timely hitting's doing a thing. I mean, if Kelnick, like Kevin said, does his thing, like this lineup suddenly gets a little bit more stretched out, and JP is struggling like crazy, guys. I'm so sorry. I need to talk crap about him again, just so he hears me and then picks it back up again. But he is just falling off a cliff. But Mitch Haniger, Ty France, Seager's playing well enough. A 720 OPS is fine, not great, but it's fine. Torrens has been awesome, and then Kelnick. If you're getting 6 deep there now. I really, my only question with this offense is I don't want to see Murphy anymore. I want to see Cal Raleigh. Let him struggle. Let him do whatever he's going to do, but he needs to be playing 5 days out of the week. I need to see the guy just get ABs. Play him 2 days, play him 3 days, sit him. Play him 2 days, sit him. But like he needs to just get at bats. We need to see what we got. Lefty, righty, just mix it up. Whatever it is, like I don't care about matchup since he's a switch hitter. I want to see him just get at bats, get him working behind the plate because again, we're not going to the playoffs this year. That's not really the goal. He needs to be ready. We need to know kind of what we got the next couple of years, what it is. And the only way you're going to do that is get major league reps and at bats. Let's see what he is. And I don't hate Tom Murphy, but he's not the future. Let the kid play. We're letting Kelnick play. Let him work through his issues. And he's like Kevin said, he's been a lot better. And JT said he had a great game. The walk was actually a big deal, letting him take pitches.
Red hand.
Yeah.
And really gave him the walk. I don't know if you saw the pitches he was throwing out there. But
Kelnick had chased pitches before, or when he got called up, he was chasing balls and was like getting himself out. He didn't swing. Mitch, we lost the game because Mitch Haniger swung. Like if Mitch Haniger didn't swing, we beat Toronto. So like, or beat Texas. It's a difference. If just Jared Kelnick had taken that at bat, we win. So I mean, I'm just saying, like, it is kind of a skill not to swing at bad pitches because people do it all the time. But a little sidetrack. But yeah, I want to see Cal just get more bats, see who he is, see what he's made out of. That's the only thing I want to see going forward.
All right, let me say 2 things about Toronto. So first of all, their fans, while they were down 9-3, I'll give them credit. They were still into the game, although they were getting a little annoying when there's 2 outs in the 9th. I really wanted to shout it like the Kraken have a better shot at the Stanley Cup than the Leafs ever will. But that probably would have ruffled a little bit of feathers there in Canada. So I kept it to myself. And then I don't know about you, JT, but every time Springer got near the ball or went up to bat, it was just the boo parade. And I really did enjoy it. There were a lot of cheaters, and that's a solid chant for George Springer. He did go down in the game I was at, and I don't want to boo a guy when he gets hurt, but when he got back up and walked off on his own power, then everyone started booing him, so that's okay. But yeah, let's talk about where the Mariners are at right now. So they were battling with the Blue Jays for that wild card spot. So as it stands right now, Boston has a half-game lead on the Oakland Athletics, and 1.5 back are the New York Yankees. Then 4 games back are Toronto, and then Seattle is 5 games back. Angels are 9.5 back under 500. Really don't have to worry about them. So let's talk about where we are at with the Mariners right now, because Sean kind of built up this batting lineup. You guys have mentioned how the bullpen is playing. Where are your hopes at right now? I mean, this team has exceeded expectations. Are we still expecting them to just fall off a cliff in this last month and a half, or are you maybe starting to believe a little bit more than you have in the last 5.5 months? I'm going to go ahead and start. This team was not expected to do anything. Their pitching has been better than expected. Their batting, while it hasn't been great, is getting better, and they're still in the thick of it. They shouldn't be here, but they are. I am getting my hopes up a little bit. I know they will probably be dashed, as they always are, but I'm pretty hopeful that the Mariners can make a run down the stretch. Now, do I, in my mind, think that will happen? No, absolutely not. But my heart wants it, and that's all I want, is to follow my heart. So Mariners, feel free to break it as you usually do. It'll be 20 straight years of heartbreak, but I'll come back for 21, maybe 22.
Years? 20 straight years? There were some years, man, where you shouldn't have had any heartbreak. Like me and you should have been playing baseball for the Mariners.
The heartbreak came much earlier, but the heart still breaks. I mean, if it breaks in July versus August, what's the difference? June, May, what's the difference?
There's no break. I could have told you a couple of years ago you shouldn't have, like some of those years, you're like, don't have any heart. Don't have any heart in this team.
But, the Mariners have a legitimate shot this year. It's nice to see. Those teams in front of them are very good, and the Mariners' schedule's not too bad. They've got some tough competition with the Astros. But outside of that, I mean, there's a shot. There's a chance.
Wow.
There's a chance. All right. It's maybe a dumb and dumber chance, but there's a chance. JT, how are you feeling about the Mariners right now?
I'm feeling solid. I'm feeling that they might make it interesting enough for me to actually think it may happen, and then just they are what we thought they were at the end. Looking at their schedule ahead, they've got 3 more games against Texas, and that's it for Texas the rest of the season. 9 more games against Houston. Let's see, for the Oakland, they got 9 more for Oakland. Los Angeles, they've got 6 more. But they also got some sweet matchups. Kansas City looking juicy. Arizona, 6 games, looking juicy. Yeah. Oh, there's 7 games against Kansas City. I hate that I'm like hopeful. Honestly, it's like I want to be all or nothing. But that's what being a fan is, right? It's is holding out hope. So it's been 20 years, and it'd be pretty cool to see, but I don't expect it, put it that way.
It's like Michael Scott. I'm ready to get hurt again. All right.
That's a good way.
Yeah.
To put it.
Kevin, how are you feeling about the Mariners right now?
It's honestly going to come down to a couple things. One, this offense has to be better. Like, I know their whole identity is like close games and stuff like that, but like if you want to compete with the big boys, like you gotta put some offense on the board, and this team can do it. Especially as Sean already mentioned with Kelnick heating up, you kind of got 6 guys that are kind of solid. If JP can kind of find anything of what he was earlier this year, maybe you can kind of count 7. But also the starting pitching kind of needs to just one, like Kikuchi has only made 6 innings one time out of his last 4 starts. Granted, the 3 that he didn't were against New York, Toronto, and Houston. So, I mean, 3 really good teams. So I want to see Kikuchi kind of get back into form a little bit, be that starter that can get you 6-7 innings, especially against good teams, because you're going to be playing good teams. And then also the other question mark is kind of Logan Gilbert, who's kind of hit a niche a little bit. Also has kind of struggled in his last couple starts, with the exception of Texas, but he was also pitching against really good teams. So, and he's young too. So I'm not too worried about him. It's something that will get cleaned up. But you also have hope too, because as we've already mentioned, Chris Flexen has been very solid. Marco Gonzalez since July has just been a stud. And your bullpen is just amazing. And then your 5th right now is what? Who is our 5th? Because Dunn's not back yet. We doing bullpen? Oh no, it's the kid we got from Pittsburgh. So
Anderson.
there's like some stuff it kind of gives you hope that you have glimmers, but there's also things that need to happen in order to give yourself a little bit more hope towards that. So we need to see a lot more consistency of just runs by the offense, and a little bit more consistency out of a couple people in the starting pitching. But other than that, it's most likely, I mean, if we don't make it, as I've said previously in podcasts, I won't be surprised.
Sean, how are you feeling?
I mean, I think we're playing to our absolute max of the jar, and we're 5.5 out. I don't think we can possibly play any better than this and still catch the 3 teams in front of us. We have to beat Boston, New York, and Toronto. We have to play better than we are now. We already know we're getting lucky, and we have to play better than that to catch 3 teams. It's fine that I'm just happy we're playing relevant baseball in August. Like, we're mid-August and it's relevant. That's totally fine. It's a win for me. I do not care about really making the playoffs this year, because I don't think it's really going to happen. I will not be hurt. I will not be devastated, because it's not realistic. And I have a question for you, Matthew.
Yeah.
So Eric Campbell, Dylan Moore, Taylor Trammell, Shedlong. How were they this year? Were they all awesome at hitting? Were they all amazing?
No.
They're terrible, right? JT, terrible?
Sure.
Kevin, terrible?
Yeah.
Okay, the 2010 Mariners WRC Plus was the same as all of them. So if you thought for 1 second that team was going to be good, you thought that includes Ichiro. If you thought for 1 second that team was going to be good, that was on you, and that was you had deserved to have no expectations for that team. 0 expectations. They were the same hitting team as 9 Dylan Moores. That was embarrassing. It was one of the most embarrassing things ever. So no, my dashes will not get hoped like 20 times in a row. I think I've been hurt like twice in the last 20 years. I thought the year they traded for Cliff Lee, I was like, okay, screw run differential. It won't matter. They'll turn around. And then the run differential is like, F you, man. And they showed us that we were not good. And it was all smoke and mirrors the next year. And then it collapsed. So, but I think the future will be different trajectory than this team, than that team. But no, we're playing with house money and enjoy it. That's all. Don't expect anything from house money.
You never expect to beat the house, but it's always cool when you do.
It's just no, it's house money. It's not don't beat the house. That's not what that saying means, Matthew. Like you know.
Just wanted to flip it on its head for you.
Yeah, you're thinking we're gonna beat the house. Never
Sean, think about it. What if Boston and New York and Toronto are all just like, in the line at the club, and they're like beating each other up, and then you just kind of slip in the back door,
The problem is you named 3 teams in the same division, and when they play each other, one of them has to win. Like they both can't lose is the problem. And that's why they say leapfrogging teams in the same division is actually really hard because you're like, well, they have to play each other. Yeah, but that means one team is guaranteed you to not gain ground on. Versus
rock, paper, scissors. I'm following you, Sean.
And so yeah, that's actually really bad. So unfortunately,
that's why you play rock, paper, scissors, lizard, Spock. It's
there you go. Yeah, that's true.
Exactly.
That's true. That's a much better game. All right, well, let's move on to a prospect report here. Who wants to go first? What's happening with the Mariners prospects right now? Who wants to go first?
They called up Kirby. He pitched finally at Double-A.
Yeah, good. If you can get yourself a plane ticket to Arkansas, I would.
Those 5 starters are stupid in Arkansas. So any of the 5 days, Brash, like oh man, like those 5 guys are gonna throw it hard and fast. Like they're just gonna bring it. Yeah, they're a fun pitching staff to watch. Marte was named the hottest player in fantasy baseball again. So there's that, I guess.
Stats or looks? Clarify. We've talked about both on the
podcast. He dabbled in both. Like
Okay.
He's like, what's up? He honsoled it right now. He's so hot right now.
Who would have thought Arkansas would be so hot right now? Like,
well, Marte's not there, but yeah.
No, I'm just talking about that team in general.
Yeah, no, they. Well, it's funny to watch where all the talent moves. They suddenly get way better. I don't know what that is. Like Everett was really good. Arkansas was bad. Then they all moved up to Arkansas, and Arkansas got good. I don't know what that's about, but like someone can explain it to me. I don't know.
Yeah, prospect rankings on Twitter. I saw a couple of sites recently update. Mariners are usually first or second. And I mean, that's probably more likely a fantasy skew, but it has a correlation to real life in terms of just what to expect out of these performances individually. But yeah, you put them all on the same team as a whole, it's going to do well. I mean, look how Everett did the first half of the year. And yeah, now you got Julio in Arkansas, and Kirby just got promoted to Arkansas, and
Bloche, yeah, and you guys up there.
Yeah, Hancock's now there. So, man, weird to say. Book a ticket.
Your fifth starter is your fifth starter is Matt Brash. Like,
get out to Arkansas. Go see a game. Arkansas, if you're listening.
They've been very slow with Hancock and Kirby though, with innings and stuff like that. So realistically, earliest next September, call it for those guys, earliest, because they've just been so low on the innings limit. But it'll be fun, man. It'll be fun.
All right, and then let's do one last thing. I'm going to spring this on you guys. So you're all 3 in a fantasy baseball league. I know the playoffs should be coming up here soon, I imagine. Last time I checked in, Sean and Kevin were deadlocked at 500, just complete average, and JT was doing well. So how is that going right now? JT, are you still leading these two? Like, how is that league going right now?
It's going great for 2022. Hell,
JT's
that. I sold the farm. There was a ginger fire.
You were the
sale
Chicago Cubs?
Before no, but I did better.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he actually got a player.
So it's a 12-team league. There's 24 rounds. I traded a bunch of dudes, and I have 8 picks in the first 5 rounds, and I think I have 15 in the first 100 picks overall. So I just went for next year. I think I'm 9th or so. Kevin's after this week kind of locking up that 5th. So it's really 4 teams competing for the 6th spot, which is the last playoff spot there. But I always want to try. I feel like
I don't know if Kevin continues to lose 10-0 like right now.
it's Monday. Oh my god. Gosh. The week just started, but still, Kevin, get on that.
Yeah, you gotta get a category, man.
I texted my boys. I was like, do it. But I was very surprised. Like 2 weeks ago, I beat the number 1 seeded person like 11-1. I had I had an above solid week, and he had a below solid week.
Yeah, I played
because his team is very good.
I played the week before. He had a very different week against me, you asshole.
Yeah.
Like,
and then I beat the number 2 seed last week 6-4. It was kind of a close matchup.
Kevin is going through the ringer here at the end of the year, though. Look at all the matchups. He is going through the ringer in these.
Yeah, so I'm playing pretty much the top seeds and kind of dueling it out. Hopefully can
you get me.
I'm getting people back slowly, which is nice, because like 2 weeks ago I had like 8 people like not playing either IL-10 or like day-to-day and stuff like that, and then a bunch of people came back, so it's kind of been nice. Played around with the waiver wire. I didn't make any trades. I just decided, especially since I sadly auto drafted this year, I was like, I'm just gonna kind of go with the team I have and just hope it gets there, and if not, there's next year, which I probably will try not to auto draft. But we'll see what happens. And then Sean's right behind me in 6th. So
Sean, are you hanging on to that final playoff spot? Are you clinging to life right now?
I'm tied for a guy, but I have the tiebreaker over him. So that Field of Dreams game was great. I had the 2 home runs in the top of the 9th. And then my closer came in and then proceeded to give up a home run to the guy on the other team, which cost me 3 categories. So at the end of it was so close. I lost home runs, I lost RBIs, and I lost ERA and WHIP. I lost WHIP because of that. So that 1 home run, Team Anderson, thank you. It was a really cool moment, but you really screwed me. So that was awesome in the long run. So, but no, I think my team has enough talent to easily compete. I finally got Garrett Cole off COVID IL. So anytime you could add a Garrett Cole to your
good day-to-day.
Yeah. Well, of course, he got taken out at 60 or at 70 pitches in 5 2/3. So I didn't get a quality start.
Stamina, sucking wind.
Mm-hmm.
You know what, Matt? I feel good. There's 4 weeks, including this week. There's still 4 weeks left. And Sean's got that 6th spot. I'm only 2 games back. I'm in 9th. There's 4 teams with 2 games spread. We talked about it earlier, Sean and I, is like name value don't mean anything. Mm-hmm. It's opportunities. It's, baseball gets weird when you get hit September. Lots of call ups and things like that. Like, let's get weird. You referenced Dumb and Dumber. I have a chance, and I think it's better than 1 in a million.
Wow.
Well,
wow.
Technically, yeah, I think numbers. It is better than a million. Your lineup, I'm looking at it, is you're throwing some wild cards out there, JT. You really are.
I am streaming. I am playing the matchups.
You have 2 guys that aren't playing right now.
Hey, that's ceremonial. Shout out to Rogers on the Marlins. He's dealing with a family issue that's kept him out for 2 weeks now. I guess it's pretty serious. No details have been given, but thoughts and prayers. And
Hook's out. Tucker is on the IL or COVID IL now. You have no
bench. And they keep calling him up, bring him back down. He's going to start on Tuesday with the 27th doubleheader.
You know, you should pick up. You should pick up a guy who pitches for New York and has a mustache. That's pretty sweet.
No, Cortez Jr. can go just sit. Okay, maybe Matt knows him, or maybe even Kevin. Guy named Ashley. I think he went to the same high school as the Beatty brothers here, and he just had one of those faces that you wanted to punch and was
Sounds familiar.
Can't say I know an Ashley now.
I
I
don't
think he's a
think I know
year
what Ashley.
older than us. He always threw junk in Little League. He just never threw fastball.
See,
He
the
just,
only thing you give me
straight
for
up
this
junk,
guy
and that's
is
who
he threw
Cortez Jr.
junk when we were like 11, and his name's Ashley. Like, I
That's
don't
probably what he was actually probably trying to do well. No, actually, I know for a fact he just was throwing just crud. Just
know. Okay.
anyways,
Way to
not
start this, Matthew. Look what you started.
we can go down this rabbit hole. But hey, I've got a chance. We'll talk at the end of the month probably if you have me on again. That'll be 2 more weeks away. I mean, there's still 4 weeks of the season. There's only 2 games. There's like 14 categories a week. That's nothing. There's a ton that's going to change.
JT, I am on your side because you're camping right now at beautiful Mount Rainier. Like you're living the dream. So I'm rooting for you. Kevin, I'm pulling for you as well. Blood means nothing, Sean. Get out of here. All right, let's move on. Tell us what you think about your fantasy season right now, as well as how the Mariners are doing right now. Go ahead and tweet us. I'm at _Matt. Sean's at Sean_Betty. Kev's at Kesley with first name is 3. JT is at JT_the Ginger.
Are we showing
These
trophies?
guys
Kevin?
are showing off their. Is it baseball trophies?
No, this
Football
is
trophies?
This is football. This is Mahomes right here.
Oh.
This is the fantasy baseball trophy.
Oh. Okay. Well, I mean, got to make the playoffs. Keep it in that household. That's all I got to say. All right. Well, let's move on to some Seattle Seahawks football. So there was actual football last Saturday. I was at the game, so I didn't pay attention. I don't think anybody else paid attention as well because nobody really is supposed to be starting played this game. There were a few guys that were notable that'll probably be starters, but didn't seem like when I was looking at the box score on Sunday that there was much significance from this game, just getting a lot of guys snaps. Did anybody watch it? Did anybody watch?
I've seen it twice.
Oh, you've seen it twice. All right, Sean,
Yeah.
tell us what you saw in this game then.
Thirsty.
Yeah, hold on. Let me get a drink of water for that. Oh.
Thirsty for some football.
The Seahawks didn't look good. Really on either side of the football. I'm just gonna throw that out there. I'm not worried about it. It's the first preseason game. Not a lot of starters did play. I would say on offense, DJ Dallas I was really impressed with. Not even the long run. I'm not talking about that. The play he was unguarded and just ran on the sideline. Just like his in and out runs, like his normal, like once he had actually to do things, I really liked. I think he was the best offensive player. Quarterbacks wise, it was just a mess. Like, just to be very clear here, it was not good. On the defense, that's where I think more positive things happen, but there's a lot also hard negatives. Ben Burkervin, I think, played really well. He put himself in a position. He just needs to be more aggressive. Like, he's always in the right position, but doesn't make that final, like, one more step to cover that guy or tackle that guy. Cody Barton is the opposite. He's way too aggressive and over pursues guys all the time, but he got 2 sacks because he is that aggressive. So, like, if you could combine the 2 players and, like, just medium out their attributes, Pro Bowler, all pro, like, amazing. But either of them needs to learn from the other one because they need to completely opposite. Ben Burkervin was in every right position or like a yard away every single time, but just couldn't quite, like, he trusts he needs to trust that he put himself in the right position. And that's what they always said at UW, was always in the right position. Okay, you're at the NFL, just trust it, be there, because he's not the biggest guy, but if you can just play football, you can play football. That's why I liked him when he came out of UW. I'm not a UW fan, but he always is in the right position. I really liked how he played. Trey Brown kind of got eaten alive. Gavin, Hillsop, the corner?
Heslop?
Yeah, was the best looking corner the entire day. So I think he needs to get more playing time. Alton Robinson and Rasheem Green had the best game of anybody, both sides of the football. Those 2 guys, it won't show up in the stat sheet. Alton Robinson had a decent day with tackles, but they were all over the place. Green and Alton Robinson were causing problems, quarterback hurries, getting in people's faces, making great tackles. Kevin would appreciate this. I think it was Green in the 4th quarter, or Alton Robinson, I think, in the 4th quarter.
Yeah.
Jet sweep, and he stayed at home, tackle for loss. Weidman talked about it on the podcast. He goes, that's your assignment. He ate the blocker. The guy came around and he tackled him. And that's what I wanted Frank Clark to do for 4 years. And he didn't do it one time. And Alton Robinson did it in a preseason game. It was perfect. He did the perfect play. And Weidman called it out. He was like, a perfect play. I was like, exactly. Like, Alton Robinson really impressed me. Like in the first game. So did Green. Like, they were both awesome. And Alton Robinson or Green caused the interception that Neal caught. Again, everyone on Twitter, stop saying Neal did something great. Literally all 4 of us on the podcast could have caught the pass Neal caught. I cannot do what Alton Robinson did though. So that was the great, or Green did. That was the great play.
It was Robinson.
Or it was Robinson? Yeah. Alton Robinson,
Yeah, Robinson
beat his guy, who was it still? I think it was still Perryman at the time. Yeah, Nate
Peterman played the whole time.
Peterman, he played the whole time. Yeah. Got in his face, hit his arm, pop up, and yeah, like he made the play. He played really well. Those 2 guys stole the show.
Kevin, did you watch the game?
Mhm.
All right. Tell us what you thought.
Yeah, pretty much I agree with what most of Sean said. Some notes that just defensive scheming, especially in the first quarter, there was some stuff that I was just kind of like the touchdown play for the first touchdown for them. The guy that was covering the receiver that went into the end zone was Alton Robinson. I have no idea why he's there.
It wasn't a touchdown, but yeah, it led to.
Or it was close, yeah.
Yeah.
But I was like, why is Alton Robinson on coverage there? I was like, that makes no sense.
I think Alton Robinson felt the same way.
Yeah. Yes, I will agree with most of Twitter. Trey Flowers looked like crap. But we know this already. Like, people are like, oh, Trey Flowers. Like,
can I say though, the one play on the sideline in the first quarter, in the first drive, he threw a perfect ball. Like,
yeah, he did.
Trey Flowers probably in an ideal world could turn his head, but he's running full speed with a guy, and the guy has a window of like 4 inches and put it there. And the guy caught it. Like, it's a great throw and catch, like, honestly. But yeah, Trey Flowers, he didn't look great.
Now, as I say this next thing, keep in mind preseason means nothing. So, but at the same time too, as Sean already mentioned, what we saw out of BBK and Barton makes it kind of okay. Like, it kind of comforted me a little bit knowing that we let KJ go, just seeing the good aggressive play from them. Now it's preseason. So like I said, they could, stink up a fat one starting game 1, who knows? But we did see good signs, so to speak, of that. The linebacking core, especially without Bobby in there, will be okay, I think. As far as defensive line play, there was good and bad, to be honest. Like, there were times where I was like, oh, that's really nice. Like, guys were getting after people and good handwork and stuff like that, good movement. But also there was times where I was kind of like, what are we doing? It was a weird mix. Offensively, it's really hard. I think we're going to get more of what we want to see next week, just because we all know if Russell Wilson goes down, it's the end of the season. Like, the backups all suck. So it's kind of hard to judge and I really hope, even though, yes, I want to see DK and Lockett get a little bit of rhythms, I want to see the receivers with Russell to where, like, that, have somebody that can actually throw him a good ball, like, type of deal. I didn't really pay a whole lot of attention, and I should have, more to what the offensive line was doing. I'm going to try to do that more this week. And give you guys next week a little bit of offensive
Forsyth can run block. He cannot pass block at all. He got eaten alive.
All right. Then there's that tight end dude that kind of came up with that Wood Anderson guy. I saw a couple decent blocks by him. That would be the only thing I could mention, was that and some good route running. I was like, who is that dude? And then they're like, Wood Anderson. I was like, I don't even know he existed. But who knows? Maybe he's a guy that can kind of sneak. I'm actually, no, he's not going to make the team. Let's just be honest. But overall, good play. DJ Dallas. The rest of the backs need to kind of step it up. But yeah.
JT, did you watch the game?
I didn't, but I do have some hashtag analysis.
Go ahead.
From what I've seen, it seems like something needs to be figured out with left tackle Dwayne Brown, because they could probably use him at this point. Nothing really spoke to positively in terms of offensive linemen that would step up in his absence or what have you. Also, so I'm team big boys, big toys. So that's my analysis regarding that. And then I'm also team kicking and punting, because as a fellow ginger, John Ryan, Michael Dixon is the disciple. 5 punts, averaging 48.6 yards, 3 inside the 20, a long of 62. Solid. And Jason Myers missed the long field goal, but had the extra points preseason. But hey, I like to see the balls getting kicked in the air. Just, like we don't care.
Yeah, I'll just do one last bit of analysis. John Ursua, 1 catch for -1 yards. Hopefully it picks it up in the preseason. Your guys' boy, John Ursua. I don't know if how many times he lined up,
Got
but
shoestring tackled.
oh, he had a shoestring tackle.
Yeah, it was like a little out sweep, and
They-
then a guy came around and he tried to step around it, but he fell.
Matthew, the DJ Dallas play for 45 yards was 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Other than that, they had like 89 passing yards on the day. It was a terrible day.
Okay, first of all, I'm looking at the box scores, 126, and the only play I did see was the DJ Dallas touchdown, because that's the only thing I could really find.
43 was on a play that was behind the line of scrimmage, and he just ran. It wasn't a passing. It wasn't really a passing play.
I mean, I'm just telling you the number that it has here. Okay, you could break it down if you want.
They have 134 yards actually.
Oh, okay. Well, the negatives. Okay. All right. That's fair. Let's talk a little bit. Thank you for that segue, JT, about the Adams and Brown situation. So Sean and I left Kevin 108 texts, which is very low. I would say we need to step our game up just a little bit. But the recent article that I saw today on the Seattle Times, I have it there linked in our document if you guys want to look at it. It was basically saying about the same thing that the last article said. The two sides are just a little bit apart on a couple different things. The deal, quote from the story, the deal also includes 38 million guaranteed, according to sources. Adams' side has countered asking for 40 million in guaranteed money, and that remains one of the key sticking points. The deal also includes 38 million guaranteed, according to sources. Adams' side has countered asking for 40 million guaranteed money, and that remains one of the key sticking points. Why did they repeat that? Somebody needs to copy at this. That is not the point here. Sean and I were talking about this. It's 1 year. It's how it's allocated. Sean was explaining how it matters for salary cap reasons, signing different guys. I completely understand that. But if you want to play $2 million, I do not feel like should be enough of a sticking point. You are going to be the highest paid safety in the league, and I think that's what you want.
Not $2 million.
It literally says $2 million. It literally says it right here. So I'm sure the sides will work out the differences. I'm sure a deal will get done. And if Adams doesn't play, I'm not gonna be too upset about it, honestly. I think the other guys can take a shot, and then if they seem to be terrible, then maybe you give Adams what he wants and let him see what he can do. Because at this point, it just seems kind of ridiculous that the sides can't come to an agreement. John Schneider's taking his feet in, Jamal Adams is taking his feet in. So which side's gonna break first? I don't know. I don't really care. I would just like to see Adams on the field. And hopefully both sides can be happy. That's all we want, and to have a cohesive defense, right? Yeah, there you go. Zen, JT. Zen. Sean, go ahead.
Well, but the issue with that is the guaranteed, yes, the guaranteed is 2 million, but the sticking point is how it's allocated and how many years of control and how long they spread out the signing bonus. Because how they do that determines actually how much of this money Jamal Adams will get. This is not baseball where Chris Davis retires, but the Orioles still have to pay him, $40 million the next couple of years. Jamal Adams will not make the max of this. Patrick Mahomes is not going to make $45 million for the next couple of years. The cap hit changes, but these are not all guaranteed. Depending on cuts, depending on trades, depending on meeting all incentives, they won't make this much money, or things like that. So Adams is what he's trying to do with the guaranteed. The guaranteed, he will get that money. This is what the Seahawks want to do, is allocate it differently, spread it out. And the Jamal Adams wants it all up front. So, because in the first couple years, he's like, look, you're going to pay me all this money. And at the end, you could cut me, but so it won't be that much for you. But I'm going to get all of the max money I want. Seahawks like, look, we want to spread all this money out. So if we do and win cut you or trade you, we're not going to have to pay you as much. So it could really, like, you're saying $2 million. I'm arguing it could be more like $13 million. Like, that's the difference we're talking about here. It could cost Jamal Adams a lot of money depending on how the money is allocated. And that's what they're arguing. They're arguing the years where the money is being spread out and how much it is. So it could be double-digit millions, depending on how, if he doesn't play out his whole contract with the Seahawks, because that's how often these deals happen. Money gets pushed back and deferred, and then the player gets cut or the player gets moved. Frank Clark, like it's just how it works in the NFL. So I get, yes, that it's frustrating that this happens and they're digging their heels in, but the Seahawks have to at some point say, like, look, like, we're not going to give you all your things because we do have to sign other guys. We do have to allocate money differently to afford Brown. We saw JT, we saw how important Brown is for this team. Like, that is pathetic if he doesn't play. And I get that they don't want to do it with 2 years left on Brown's contract because they have a lot of people that are due for money next year. But signing Brown is more of a need than signing Jamal Adams, personally, because like that offensive line is terrible. And their next two guys are hurt. So they're on their fourth string left tackle if he doesn't play. Like, so Matthew, yeah, it does. I think it does matter how they allocate that money.
All right, so cut Adams, sign Brown, problem solved.
No, I didn't say
Nope,
that.
that's my solution. That's what I'm doing.
That's what you're doing? You can't cut Adams.
I just did. Said it.
Give him 2 first-round picks.
Actually, I declared it. I declared it.
Then Russell Wilson gives you the middle finger and he's out. Like, you spent all that capital, told Russell to suck it, and then you cut it a year later. Like, Russell's like, what are you doing? Like I could have used all those first-round picks on drafting a left tackle who wouldn't be here. Instead, you just cut the picks, like, and we're done with it.
No, and then I signed Brown. Boom. Problem solved.
I'll declare my free agent availability. Maybe the last 10 seconds of this podcast as we're wrapping up, I'll just show some moves in the background.
JT, any thoughts on this situation?
Oh man. Both are tough. Brown's old and been injured, but he's definitely, I think he's more needed than Adams in terms of just what they bring to the team. Gosh, with Brown, at least I feel like it might be money better spent, which sounds really weird, but just in terms of just left tackle, it's a need, and we don't have much of a depth at it. And with Adams, I don't know, obviously tough to trade him for any type of value. And like, I think was it last week I listened to you guys and talked about, who would want him. He's thrown a fit, at previous spots where he wants to get paid, and now he's here and he wants to get paid, and it's all this other stuff. But I don't know. I'm already tired of Adams. Oh, like almost. And it's just like, yeah, I understand. It's you got to get yours, and the dynamic of the whole situation of the occupation that you have chosen to provide money for your family. But I don't know. It's a little much, and it's tough when you're trying to get hopeful for a Seahawks season and you're still dealing with question marks of solidifying contracts.
For the record, when I said everything, I agree with JT. I'm tired of this situation already.
Yeah, I would much rather sign Brown than Adams. Absolutely. If it came to that, but I don't think it will. Kevin, what are your thoughts on the situation?
Yeah, it's tricky, just because I think they probably will eventually find a way to get both back in. Brown is more important to the success of this team than Jamal Adams by far. You got to keep Russell upright. That offense is what's going to take you, not the defense, as we've seen over the last 2 years, being ranked like 24th and 22nd. And you really didn't add much. You just added kind of what you did last year. You just brought in a bunch of kind of decent dudes, and you're kind of relying on your now draft capital, hoping that um, the kid that we got from Tennessee pans out, that Collier pans out and stuff like that. I think we would be okay. Honestly, I really didn't like the Jamal Adams trade because one, I'm big on Blair. Well, I think we all are, to be honest. I think you're just fine at safety with Diggs and Blair, just because I think Diggs is I think more Seahawks fans are higher up on Diggs than I am. I think he's a solid player, but I think a lot of people have him as like super, super good. I think he's above solid. And then Blair's just good, really, really good. So, and then having Neal as a backup, you could have worse backups, to be honest. So I think you were already kind of set there, and then just Jamal Adams was like icing on top type of deal that we just didn't need, really. And I'd rather see just Dwayne Brown get signed to like a 2-3 year deal and solidify that spot to where we can eventually hopefully draft his replacement. Because the offensive line apparently has looked, like I said, I didn't really pay attention much to it this first game. I'm going to definitely pay attention more to it on Saturday. But if we have to protect Russell. That's number one key. If Russell's not protected, we're not going to win. Plain and simple. So Dwayne Brown, whatever the heck he wants, and then you can fill out Jamal Adams later. He's not really necessarily needed. I mean, you technically need to pay him, as we've already mentioned, just because we gave up so freaking much for him, to where it just I have a feeling it's going to look bad no matter what. If we get rid of him,
it already looks bad.
Yeah. If we do, then 12s need to come out and just say that, Pete and John screwed up and had no idea what the hell they were doing. It was Pete, wanting one of those pieces, he wanted, with Percy and Jimmy. He's like, oh, I want he looks great. And then we trade, and then we just, we saw how that's worked in the past. So.
All right, well, we are coming up on 5 minutes left. So let's talk about the next 2 preseason games. I just want to talk about how we think the starters are going to be allocated. So I kind of looked around the league, and not many starting quarterbacks, starting offenses really went out there. I think it was mostly starting defenses. So I'm curious how we think they're going to play these last 2 preseason games with the starters, because we talked about it previously, but now seeing how no starters really played at all in this game, I'm curious what their plan is, because you do need snaps as a starter. I mean, it's not absolutely necessary, but you definitely want to get some game action before you go into your first regular season game. So kind of what I'm thinking is they'll probably go no starters in the second game just to protect their health. And I think they'll probably do a full half in the third game just to get them out there against another team. And that way give them some reps, give them some time to get that chemistry back, and then kind of work out the kinks in those final 2 weeks of practice before the first actual game starts. Personally, I would like to see them play maybe a quarter in the second game, but I do not think that will happen. I think they're just trying to protect health at this point, especially with Dwayne Brown not playing. Same with Jamal Adams. So I think you're trying to conserve health at this point, and the guys that need reps or position battles will mostly play. But you won't see Bobby very much. You won't see Russ very much. You won't see DK. You won't see Tyler. You won't see Colby Parkinson at all. That's very sad. I'm sorry, Kevin. I had to bring that up. But
better news, though.
Yeah, better news. It's not as bad as we thought. So yeah, I think they will probably just kind of hold back on the starters, and hopefully they'll work out those kinks in the last 2 weeks of practice and then be ready to go for week 1. And obviously week 1 is generally kind of Russ to knock off anyway. So not too worried about that as long as they go into the season healthy. Sean, what do you think?
I mean, we've never had a 3-game preseason before, so it's kind of hard to say, but if they're going to treat this as the third preseason game or this as the second, and then just go to the third preseason game as a regular third preseason game, I think they'll play a half, the starters, or close to it.
Saturday.
Yeah, close to it, like a quarter and a half or half of the game. They're going to have to get some reps, and I think he'll then play a quarter in the last game. So kind of split the difference in both of them. So I think the starters, most of the starters, if somebody even is sort of nicked up, not playing him at all. But so about half the starters will probably play half the game, and then that's it. I'm okay with Russell playing a quarter and then leaving, but Russell will probably play a half because he's Russell. He's a robot. But yeah, I say about half.
Kevin, what do you think?
I agree with Sean. I think this game is going to be like game 3 of what an old preseason looks like. And then game 4 is more like the final determinant of who's making your 53-man squad. Throwing the I kind of actually where I disagree with Sean is I do want to see Russell for a half. I mean, I'm going to be just scared out of my mind because like I don't know if he's going to be protected, but at the same time too, I want to see these receivers, not DK and Tyler, have a chance with a guy like Russell throwing to him. Because as we saw with the first game, like we're not going to really see anything when you have a pile of crap throwing to him. That just can't, I want to see Ursua with Russell throwing to him. I want to see Penny Hart with Russell throwing to him, etc. And also in the backfield too, like DJ Dallas and stuff like that. I want to see what they look like with a quarterback that actually knows what the hell he's doing type of deal. So I hope they do a full half. And because of what Russell did, like Russell's always been, it's been hard to pull him in preseason because he's so competitive and wants to get those reps in. I have a feeling he probably will do a full half. And then game 3, I would say a quarter to a quarter and a half. But who knows? We'll see what Pete does. Maybe this is like game 2 and then they just skip game 4 type of deal. And then the ref draft is next week against the Chargers. Like, I don't know. We'll see.
JT, what do you think?
I'm getting a Mighty Duck vibe. Complete line change.
Ooh.
They're gonna block like the flying V.
I'm gonna might as well.
That'd be a very nice
It's worth a
pocket,
try.
actually.
Full house package. Like was the Cowboys of old, way back. But I don't know. I think the next game, obviously, you're going to see them a little bit. It is interesting what they're going to do week 3. I am intrigued to see, because I don't think we'll see enough against the Broncos to really like know what's what, but I hope there's a lot of playing time in terms of, like your starters versus starters, and then backups, depth versus depth against the Chargers, because the Chargers to me seem like a team where I'd be really interested to see where we stand when playing the Chargers. But it is something to come out of the tunnel, out of half, have a different game plan, another scripted plays. So it's almost like, would it be conceivable to have your starters go the first quarter and a half and then maybe do like a 2-minute drill, like sub out and then come back in for a 2-minute drill, halftime, then come out of the locker room again and start it up again? I mean, it's a lot of stop go, but like you still need reps and opportunity, but you still have to make cuts, the roster. You might see a couple random just things you haven't seen before in the preseason, which kind of makes it fun and interesting instead of the normal week 4. You're just going to see, just random dudes just hitting each other. So whatever.
All right. Well, let us know what you think of the Seahawks first season game, as well as the Jamal Adams situation. Go ahead, tweet us. I'm at Beta Scrum at Sean's at Sean's Scrum. Kev's at Kev's the first ability being a 3. JT is at JT_the Ginger. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Let us know what you think in the comments. Follow our page on the Eli Network. Next week, we're going to have more live football to talk about. We're going to have more Mariners. No live reports, unfortunately. But hopefully we'll get one more live report from Kevin and/or Sean and/or JT at some point. And hopefully we'll be able to check in as the playoff starts for the fantasy league that you guys are in, because I need to know who makes it, who doesn't make it. And we need to see who's going to be, either if Kevin's keeping that trophy or if someone else is going to be taking it home. So, there it is again. There it is again. Before we go, JT, what is your hat?
El Paso Chihuahuas. Minor League El Paso Chihuahuas alternate hat. They got this is the kind of like the cream white with the red accent. They've got other They got one that's the exact same like look, but the color scheme is different, like a lime green, and then I think also like an electric blue. It's kind of fun.
Nice. The hat game is strong with you. Your hat game's strong. All right.
Thank
Well,
you.
that is all we have. That was episode 50. JT, thank you once again for joining us, and we will see you next time on Washington East to West Sports.